Hey Houdini owners, Dave Brennan with American Pinball Tech Service. Today I'm going over troubleshooting and replacement steps for the captive ball servo on Houdini's stage mechanism. Let me preface this by saying that it's a very rare occurrence to have one of these servos fail. So rest assured that this video is out there as a reference should you ever have issues in the future. So without further ado, I'm going to go through the steps to check if your servo is working or not, as well as where it's plugged in and how it communicates with the servo control board as well as the P-Rock board, and then finally how you get at the servo should you ever need to replace it. First, we're going to take a look at the service menu options to test the servos of the stage. So open your coin door, hit the black enter button, go into tests, and then scroll over using the red buttons to the stage. And just like it says on the screen, use your flipper buttons to cycle through the various tests. The first two are going to be the curtain. So if you hit the right flipper button, it's going to open the curtain. And if you hit the left button, it's going to close the curtain. So you can do that back and forth. But we're not looking at the curtain today, we're looking at the captive ball. So as you continue to hit the right flipper button, you're going to see the captive ball move up and down in its various positions. If you do not see the captive ball moving at all, then there's an issue with the servo on the underside. Either it's come disconnected or there's an issue with the servo itself. So now we're going to lift the play field and take a look at those connections. With your playfield lifted fully vertical and resting on the back box, you can get a better look at the servo driver board that's located at the bottom right hand corner of the playfield. Let me zoom in here and we'll take a closer look at the connections. Here you can see that the servo interface board is got a LED on indicating that it has 5 volts of power. This is the power connection with the red and black wires going into it. So we know that it has power. And the servos are connected at the top left of the board with the white and black wires. So it's 2 black going to the top and 1 white towards the bottom. And you can see the connections at the top of the board. They're labeled 0, 1, 2, 3, going from right to left. And the rightmost connection is the stage curtain, and the 1 position is the captive ball. So in this case, we're talking about the captive ball servo. So if it's not moving, what you can do is you can unplug the 0 position switch or servo and plug in the move the captive ball from the 1 position to the 0 position. And what we're trying to do is we're looking at eliminating the possibility of the servo interface board as being at fault. So now you will go through the same process of running through the tests, and you want to see if the servo for the captive ball now moves with the functions of the curtain opening and closing. So go back to this in the test menu and move the curtain back and forth. If your ball now moves, then we can point at the servo interface board as being an issue. If it still doesn't move, then it is an issue with the servo itself. So now one more thing I want to show as a connection is the communication between the P-Rock board and the servo interface board. So this needs to be securely connected, and this is connected down at the bottom left hand corner of your cabinet, and I'm going to zoom in on that connection so you can see what that looks like. What's right here is that connection. So if this is connected, then both your curtain and your captive ball should be working just fine for communication. If you have now verified that your servo for the captive ball isn't working, you'll need a replacement. So what you'll need to do is go to AmericanPinball.com, go to Parts and Accessories, and just search for servo. And then the servo mech will come up. There are two options for the captive ball and curtain. Make sure you select the captive ball when you're buying this, and it will come with the captive ball already attached to the calibrated servo. Now for the task of getting at the servo itself. The biggest part is removing the subway here, and you'll see that there are some U-shaped brackets that have some optos attached, and really the easiest way for these, since these are riveted to the subway, the easiest way to get these off is there's a metal clip retaining bracket that slides over the opto, and you can just pull the opto off. It just clips in there, and you can do this for both sides. So if you want to mark them, or number them with a piece of tape or something like that so you know where they go, but once you put them back, it doesn't really matter if you put them top or bottom, they'll still work the same. So you just slide these brackets off, set them off to the side, they're all the same, and then you can pop the servos or the optos out of the bracket. Just let those hang. So do that for all of them. Now for this part, there's a whole metal bracket here for these three optos of the right lock, and you have the lock coil attached to it, so you can disconnect the lock coil, and then you'll need to take a 1/4-inch nut driver and unscrew the metal bracket. Now that that's out of the way, the subway can be unscrewed from the playfield, and you'll see that there's several 1/4-inch nut driver screws, wood screws, that need to be removed in order to get the subway out. You'll also need to disconnect the servo plug for the captive ball so you can get that servo out. So I'll unscrew all these screws. Now with the subway out of the way, you'll take a 1132 nut driver and take off this metal bracket that's also in the way of the captive ball servo. To unbolt the servo motor from the stage mechanism, you'll need to hold the keep nut or the nylon lock nut with a open-ended wrench and use a stubby screwdriver to loosen the screws. Take this off. There. Finally got the thing out. So now that you have this out, you can take your new servo and follow the reverse process. Put it back through the shaft, back through the washer here, and bolt it back up to the brackets. Before you button everything back up, let's verify that the servo is working how it's supposed to. Take the captive ball plug and plug it into position 1 on the servo board, and you should start to see it move. Go into the coin door service menu, go into tests, go over to stage, And then use your flipper buttons as we did before and move through the captive ball positions and verify that the servo is now working. Now from here, you can bolt everything back up, follow the reverse order, put your subway back in, and you should be off and going. If you have any questions along the way on anything that I didn't cover in this video, please reach out to me at the email or phone number listed at the bottom of the screen. Thanks for watching.